Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Portable Church for another ProPresenter 7 tutorial. We're going to get right into it by going to our power menu and loading up Pro 7. Alright, so you'll notice we're in the same playlist as last video. This is a typical Sunday morning a volunteer would walk into seeing. Now, there's a lot of different ways that we can operate in Pro 7. I like and prefer to work in playlists, so we're going to talk about those today. You'll notice that on the side where it says playlist, we're currently in the highlighted 5Go Session 2, but they have HS service, high school, middle school, non-student events, and so on and so forth with different events. We're going to go up to that plus button in the right corner and hit Add Playlist. We're going to call this one Intro to ProPresenter. Now, I prefer to work in playlists opposed to libraries because if anything happens, you have a master section in that library of recallable parts that you can use on a Sunday morning, just in case anything goes wrong. You'll notice, though, that currently nothing's in that queue and our screen hasn't changed. So we're actually going to start loading things into that queue so we have the ability to have a playlist that we can use on a Sunday morning. So hit that little plus button, and we're going to have a header. I find these a good organizational tool, and we're going to call this one Song 1, for example. Now, there's a couple different ways we can get a song into ProPresenter. This is the best way I would recommend to do that, is by going up to that little search icon up at the top, and then using the library to search. Now, for this church, they have linked their planning center, their multi-tracks, and their song select into their ProPresenter. I recommend at least logging into one of those. That way you can have the consistency of what your volunteers see in Planning Center and on ProPresenter. For example, there's a bunch of different songs that we can go through, song select, but we're going to use Yes I Will. So we're going to type that in our search bar, and we're going to find that. We're going to scroll to the top, click and drag Yes I Will over underneath Song 1. Now you'll notice that it came from library. Right, click on it, and now you see the master or a pretty generic style of Yes I Will. And you notice this might not be the right song order that your church typically sings this in, or your group. Hit that arrangement button, it's the middle one. Now it's going to drop down a group of groups, actually, and it's going to say master on the side. I like to add arrangements, so click down. I created this default one. I'm going to click that, and now you can see this is the way that my church typically will play Yes I Will, different styles. We can also add a new arrangement if we want, because we're going to play it a different way for whatever reason, so we'll call this one test arrangement. All right, hit OK. Now I can grab one of these groups and I can do basically whatever I want. So I'm going to delete these video backs that I don't need, and then I'm going to add in a couple more. You know what? How about another verse, maybe another chorus? You get the idea. I'll just add a few more just to send the point home. And if you notice in these slides, the groups are changing, not just one slide at a time. So it's actually loading all those groups in. Now you can see that this themed song is in there. All right. Next thing we're going to do, though, is look at backgrounds. So right now these are blank backgrounds. You can tell by those pixels. We have at this church a lot of different backgrounds, so I actually want to use a certain background. This is a film grade, like an overlay. I think it gives a nice look on the LED wall. You can notice in that right corner, this is your viewer to see what's going on. Click that, and that's what your screen output will look like for the LED wall. You can notice that it says LED wall underneath. If you click this button right here, clear media or clear slides, it will accordingly clear different parts. So let's say I need to clear the slide, and then I need to clear the media. Now it'll blank out my screen. Let's say I need to do everything at once. I can hit that X, and it'll do everything at the same time. Let's say I don't need my words at the top of the screen how I have them, and I need to change it up a little bit. Go over to theme. There's a lot of pre-generated ones by ProPresenter themselves, and you can add your own where it says new theme, or within a certain area you can edit a theme that exists. I'm actually going to go over to the lyric style, black box. I'm going to pick that middle one where it says lines only, all caps. That actually just, as you can tell, auto-directed everything to the center, put everything in all caps. Now when I click on this, you'll see that it will present itself in the middle. All right. Another thing that's important to look at right now is your worship stage display. So we're going to go down to add an action and stage, and then we're going to hit worship. Okay. Now that we've done that, we now have our confidence monitor set up for our stage display for our people in the band to see. Now, to double check what that's going to look like, the easiest way to do that is to come down to where it says LED wall and then drop down to stage display. And that's an easy way to see and find what your actual slides will look like. I'm going to put it back to LED wall just for preference so I can see what's going on for the audience to see. And that is how you add a song in ProPresenter 7. Now, ProPresenter does autosave, so let's say we quit for whatever reason, and then we decide we want to come back and look at what we did. Open Pro 7 back up, and it's right where we left off. Thank you so much for tuning in to Portable Church for this ProPresenter 7 tutorial. If you have any questions, please email us at info@portablechurch.com or leave a question in the comments. We'll make sure to get back to those. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day.